Welcome back to the 99, where we are focused on brewing a better competitive commander. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, and today's episode is all about Core Set 2021. This is week one of all of our preview spoilers thus far. I didn't get a preview, unfortunately. 1 month, 1 year, a couple months from now, maybe they'll give me a spoiler. That would be amazing. I know we were joking about it on the Patreon, but it would be cool. But guys, this is going to be a discussion of all relevant cards from Core Set 2021 from the perspective of a competitive commander player. So I won't be discussing reprints. I'll only be discussing new cards that are relevant to this format. So if you will play another format, well, enjoy the episode anyways. But this may or may not be for you unless you play Commander. But before I jump into this one, there are a handful of things I do want to touch on. One reprint, as well as a new rules change. So why don't we start with that? I don't understand what is going on. So here's what's up. Commander. You have a commander that exists in the command zone, and when that commander dies, there's a replacement effect that happens. If it dies or gets exiled or goes to any other zone, you may put it back in the command zone instead. But here's precisely how it reads, and it's going to sound reminiscent of some effects that are on some creatures. Darksteel Colossus, yada yada yada. If your commander would be put into your library, hand, graveyard, or exile from anywhere, you may return it to your command zone instead. Now this is being revised to allow for commanders to trigger both death and exile triggers when they leave the battlefield to those respective zones and go to the command zone. I'm really curious as to how this is going to affect our game. There's only so many commanders that have relevant die triggers, and up until this point, if they died and they went to the graveyard and you replaced that effect with the command zone, then they would have never had a die trigger because they never went to the graveyard. I'm so confused. But now you can, instead of having it die to get the trigger, you can have it die, get the trigger, and have it go back to your command zone. Really curious to see how that plays out. I have no idea, guys. I'm not RC. I'm not the rules committee. I don't know. Does it make sense? Not at all. Does Companion make sense? Not at all. We're just throwing the book out the window. Grim Tutor! Grim Tutor was reprinted. We talked about it in just our last video. In literally our last video. So there were rumors that it was going to get reprinted for months now. And it was about time because the previous copy existed in a starter set from 1999. I was a wee lad back when that card came out, and I owned that very copy. I don't anymore. I'm glad I sold it when it did, and here's what I'm going to recommend to you. So look, if you play mono black, this might be the only color you would want to use Grim Tutor, because in all honesty, it's just a weaker demonic tutor. It is a lesser demonic tutor. 3 to fetch anything and put it in your hand is really good, but inefficient at 3. It's funny how 1 more mana makes the difference. If you do want a copy, you do need a copy. Yes, I would love for you to pre-order one in the link down in the description. I don't know if I'm blending my words tonight. However, I highly recommend that you wait at least 2 weeks after these sets have any set in the future, but specifically Core Set 21 has released. Do not buy into this now because the prices are going to be absurd. I'm sure for the special copy, it's over 100 and maybe like 60 to 80 for the standard copy. I haven't checked the prices on the pre-orders, but if it's anything in line with the previous copy, which had been over 200, I'm sure the prices dropped. Just wait. What I'm getting at is just wait until Core Set 2021 is released, then buy your copy of Grim Tutor. You likely don't need it until then. Not many of us are playing Paper Magic. But before I jump into which copies of cards you should be picking up for your collection from the set, I do want to mention our partners, TCG Player. I already alluded to it, but guys, if you love this channel, you want to support us indirectly, you can do so easily. When you pick up your next batch of cards from TCG Player, just use the link in the description. You'll be saving yourself some money, and you'll be helping us out at the same time. Doesn't that sound like a great deal? All the cards I mentioned, there's only so many. It's not even that much money. But trust me, help us out through the link in the description. It means a lot. Also, if you want to support us directly, you can do so via Anchor and or Patreon. And as our Patreon members know, I'll be thanking every single one of you until we reach 99 at the end of this video. Without further ado, let's jump into this one. It's a little late here, so if I look a little tired, That's why I want to release this video every Sunday. So expect in the future, moving on, every new set, there will be a Sunday release of weekly preview cards to discuss from that set. And again, there's only a handful from this one. And we're going to go through this in Wooburg order. There are no green cards, multicolored cards, colorless cards, and or lands to discuss in this video. Nothing that has been announced is competitive enough, efficient enough, and or there might not have been a land announced up until this point. I don't think there was. New Island Art. That's been announced. Okay. So in white. Oh boy. We asked for it. We've been asking for it. Mangara the Diplomat. We finally got it, boys. In the form of a 4 CMC legendary creature. So it's 3 generic, 1 white for the legendary human cleric, Mangara. Oh, he's been gripping that tome all these years. 2/4 body, lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you or a planeswalker you control, draw a card. What? That will never happen. Never gonna happen. Unless there's a Najeela in your pod, like in your play group, and he's always attacking you. He or she, always attacking you. It's probably the only time this is gonna ever trigger. But there's one more. It's gonna sound very familiar. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So essentially what we have here is a working reprint, slightly reduced cost version of Crom, who is an Izzet partner commander. Now I'll read Crom off now. I've got him on the screen for you. 3 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, flying haste, 4/4, legendary creature, zombie horror. Whenever an opponent casts his or her second spell each turn, draw a card. Pretty much just a working reprint of that card, slightly cheaper at 4 CMC, with some added benefits. As a commander himself, Mangara, no, don't do it. If you want to draw cards in mono white, just play SRAM. That is a more effective draw engine than this. This is draw light. I've never seen Crom draw that many cards. He does though. He or she? Is it like 2 things? It might be both. I don't know. You're gonna draw a handful of cards from this. I don't think this is gonna replace any of our staples. And here's the thing, it would have been so nice to have a working reprint of something like Rhystic Study, because we have, I mean, taxing spells, that's a white thing. We've got Chancellor of the Annex, we've got Spelltithe Enforcer. That's something that white factually does. Taxing spells. Well, instead we get Crom's ability, which is still a step in the right direction. It's draw on a white card. But this isn't replacing your Rhystic Studies, your Mystic Remoras, your Sylvan Libraries. This is not one of those. It's not that good. And it's squishy because it's a creature. Heliod will want this. Tishar will not want this. If we're talking about decks we've showcased on the show, Heliod will want this because of the lifelink, actually relevant. However, on the whole, Mangara, I don't foresee him being in a lot of lists, but if you like that effect, it's weird, like, white gets effective spells in that 4 CMC slot. The last one was Smothering Tithe, right, for ramp, and it had to be 4 CMC. Mangara has to be 4 CMC if you ever want to draw cards in white without any weird hiccups. Anyways, we got it. I hope to see more. I was waiting for that 2 CMC, 3 CMC, white enchantment, white, whatever, that allowed for draw in an effective manner. This is, yes, it's effective. Yes, it will work. An opponent, so they cast their second spell of the turn, you draw a card. It's going to go off, I don't know. If you get at least 2 cards off this guy, it's a good deal. So consider it. It's one of the only white cards that have come out that is of intrigue. I wouldn't say that this is a must in cEDH, but it's certainly something to consider if you do need the draw effect. I'm glad we saw it. I don't think it's amazing. This just shits all over Mangara. We're moving on to blue. Teferi, Master of Time. Talk about drawing cards. You're looting here, but you get what I mean. All about that card quality. Blue. I want to draw stuff. I want to see stuff. I want to scry stuff, smell it, put it back, maybe put it in my hand, put it in my grave. Teferi, Master of Time, 2 generic, double blue, double tiers. Legendary Planeswalker Teferi. This is new. Static ability. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi, Master of Time, on any player's turn anytime you could cast an instant. It's pretty solid. So what's he do? He has 3 loyalty counters when he enters, but mind you, you're going to be generating loyalty counters your turn, his turn, her turn, that person's turn. +1, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay, that doesn't seem great, Pat. You're doing it 4 times, okay? Is that not enough? -3, target creature you don't control phases out. Please don't make another combo card. Thank you. Target creature you don't control phases out. Good. That could have been bad. Hairy situation there. Sticky territory. -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. So if you're doing the math, 3 loyalty counters, 1 round if he wasn't swung at, or you have a creature that's big enough to protect him, you're at 7. 3 more players, you're at the -10. Take 2 extra turns after this one. So how often do I think that's going to happen? I think that Teferi is probably going to be public enemy number 1 if there isn't an Oko. And I think the ability itself is really fantastic. A lot of mono blue decks probably going to use this. Some dual color decks probably going to use this. I mean, I was just fighting a Scarab God recently. This is very good for Scarab God. Again, the looting, the discarding a card is not a negative aspect. It's very good for certain strategies. Also, if you don't need the island, that brand new island you got from Core Set 2021, dump it. It's okay. You're doing this 4 times. Odds are likely you'll hit that land. It's pretty good. Mangara? Yeah. I don't know about Mangara anymore. The next card I want to talk about, all the blue cards I'm going to mention today have the word Teferi in the title. Okay? The only reason I'm mentioning this one, though, someone pointed it out in the Discord. Very interesting fact. First time this word was used. Teferi's Tutelage. 2 generic, 1 blue for an enchantment. At uncommon, when Teferi's Tutelage enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. It sounds a little bit like Teferi, Master of Time. But what's this? Whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. Target opponent mills 2 cards. Okay, so yes, if you have a way to refill your library and infinitely draw through your deck, all the more likely now, you can make someone mill their entire library. But specifically mill, y'all made it a keyword? It's a word in Magic now? It's been used for how many years and it's finally a word in Magic? It didn't hit me initially because I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And then after I did a double take, I'm like, wait, oh, it's mill now. They literally say mill. Thank you. This is awesome. 2021, the set where they finally made mill a word in Magic. Only reason I wanted to bring this up, sure, you can combo with it. I'm not sure you're going to be aiming for it. But the next card we want to discuss is Teferi's Ageless Insight. Competitive? Maybe. I don't know. It's 4 CMC though, so 2 generic, double tiers. Legendary enchantment, at rare. If you would draw a card except for the first one you draw, each of your draw steps. I read that wrong. Draw 2 cards instead. Well, I can think of so many things in blue that say draw card. As a matter of fact, blue is the color of draw card. So anytime that you would do that, you do 2 instead. Okay, so you're going to go through your deck. You might even accidentally deck yourself. It's going to be insane with this card. The kinds of things you can do. Obviously, the card... Look, it's very expensive to put down, but I think if you can land this comfortably in your game, in your deck, your commander is all about drawing cards, you are going to get a lot of use out of this. Do I think it is a staple in a competitive deck? No, I don't think so. I think this is going to be very specific to your commander, very commander-dependent card. You're not always going to want to use Teferi's Ageless Insight. if you can afford to use it, if you're drawing cards, Riel, I don't know, this would be a really good card for you because you're going to draw an insane amount of cards. Gobs of cards. Too many cards. Oh my goodness. Justin's texting me. He just asked if I want to shit my pants. I just did. I read over Teferi, okay? No lying, that's what he texted me. I'm going to be very curious to find out what he said. We're moving on to black now, and there's only so many cards left to discuss from Core Set 2021. This is like an honorary mention because the art is insane. Peer into the Abyss. There's a lot holding this one back, but this is really like a commander card. They heard us. They're like, you got 40 life? Life as a resource? 4 generic, 3 black, 7 CMC. Converted mana cost. Sorcery. Rare. Target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life. Round up each time. So even if you are the target, because you're playing the, the mono black list, the multicolored list that features black, you're always going to be like the Kess player is always the person people are swinging at. The Zerg player, always the person people are swinging at. Why, Pat? Ad nauseum and necropotence, you silly. I don't want you putting cards in your hand. And I certainly don't want you doing that because you had life. Well, this, despite the amount of life put into it, because it's irrelevant. Your deck, how many cards? X cards, draw 43. Lose half your life wherever it was at. So you can ad nause, and then you can do this. Do you need that many cards? Did you win yet? And if you lose, I'm gonna laugh at you. But Peer into the Abyss, the only thing holding this back is the 7 mana. That's stupid. And the sorcery speed. So it's not Teferi, okay? You can't just play this thing at instant speed. Unless you're in Dimir. And then you have the 5 fairy. 5 fairy or 3 fairy that lets you cast things at instant. It doesn't matter. All the Teferis have been pretty damn good. Even the Commander Teferi. Yes, Chain Veil. I still remember you. Okay, so yes, Peer into the Abyss. It's a fun card. It's not going to be a card that blows anyone's mind, but... Oh, speaking of blue, wouldn't it be fun to mana drain that? Just thoughts. Hope you're playing your, what is that fish we talked about in the previous set that made it so players can't play spells on your turn? God, Barracuda, something like that. Doesn't matter. Silence. Silence before you cast Peer into the Abyss. You're going to look like a fool if you don't. Next black card we're going to discuss, the last one here. It's going to sound very similar to another card. Sanguine Bond. It's Veto. Thorn of the Dusk Rose. 2 generic, 1 black, legendary creature, vampire cleric at rare. 1/3 booty. Oh, he can block all day. He laughs. He laughs when people attack him. Unless they're like Neheb Dreadhorde champions, then he's not laughing anymore. He's backing up. He's like, I'm tapped, I can't do anything. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Again, can we say it? Sanguine Bond. But what's this? There's one more ability. 3 generic, double black. Creatures you control gain lifelink until the end of turn. It's not... That's not how we're going to want to gain life. That's tricky. That's a lot of mana. That's a lot of mana. I wish it was target creature, but, Heliod just did that, right? So let's not do that. Let's make it mass lifelink. Here's the ability that works in tandem with Exquisite Blood. So guys, if you don't know the age-old combo of Sanguine Bond, Veto, with Exquisite Blood, whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So is Veto good? Yeah, so everyone, I just want to say, I didn't come up with this combo, okay? I didn't think of it first. But as soon as I saw this card, along with everyone else, we immediately thought of this combo. It's not A plus B, because you still need to gain life on said turn, right? And you're in mono black if he's your commander, so there's ways to gain life. But you still need a C, right? Because it for sure as hell is not going to be his 5 CMC activated ability, okay? So you're not dropping Exquisite Blood for 5 and then spending another 5 on your turn. Unless you have the Dark Writ, Cabal Ritual, you're really going off and you've sacrificed something, okay? You're not going to have the mana for that. So you will need the lifelink. I don't know if Vito is necessarily a better commander. I think he is honestly better in the 99. This will be a very effective card for you. Maybe something like Kambal would be a good list for him. However, as a commander himself, I don't know. cEDH? I feel like cEDH Storm is like the most viable mono black commander in a competitive scene just because it's very quick and you tutor for ad nauseum, right? So like that's the game plan. This game plan, it's fun. We just got Grim Tutor again, so yes, it's going to be more than possible to find the combo piece with Exquisite Blood, but it might not be worth your time. If you are brewing for Vito, though, I'd love to see the list. I'm curious as to how quickly it can accelerate and how effective it will be once he drops. I feel like you're really broadcasting here. Like, you know that Vito is a potential threat, and he's got no form of protection, so it's going to be very easy to knock out. And that is it for black. I do want to mention, only because we did a deck tech on her, and I'd been asked, Double Vision. 3 generic, double red, enchantment, at rare. Only the rare cards this video, except for Teferi's tutelage. And maybe one more. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, that is your turn, your opponent's turns, his or her turns, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Even let me choose new targets? That's sweet. That's good of you. So, I just did a deck tech on Ward. Ward gives things Conspire. Do you need Double Vision? It's a redundancy that's really sweet. We don't use cards like Bonus Round because that's symmetrical. I don't want to let you do something twice. That's stupid. It's not a good game plan. I mean, if I'm really storming, I probably don't need Bonus Round anyways. Double Vision, though. This is taking up that casting slot of Ward. This is getting in the way of casting Ward. And is it better than Ward? Yeah. You know, honestly, I played Ward the other night. 2 out of 3 games, Ward won. And I didn't have Double Vision. I had to recast Ward one game like twice, and it still worked. So what I'm getting at is, would I have rather cast something that's a lot less than Ward from the command zone at that point? Maybe. There's a spot for Double Vision here. I think that it's between this and Pyromancer's Goggles. If you follow the list, you'll see that that's in the consideration board on Moxfield or whatever it's called. That is sort of the mirror image of this, except you tap it, it adds red mana, and it only doubles red spells that turn. So it only works the once, but we don't have infinite, pools of mana. We're not able to just cast spells every single turn. Like Double Vision, I'm questioning how many times you're going to cast a singular spell on each other player's turn. It's not going to be every single person's turn. You're going to probably at most cast a spell on your turn, do something off of this. You fail to win on that turn, cast a spell on that person's turn the one time. So it's like, is Double Vision necessary? I don't think so. Are you considering Double Vision for one of your list? I'd love to know. Ward doesn't need it though. I'll say that. You can do with a lot. You can do a lot with a little in that list, and this is something that's a redundancy for your commander that you really don't need. Nothing really competes with Conspire. So I like seeing it. I think it's super convenient after the recent Ikoria commander precons, especially with Calamax. Like, this is going to be something very fun to multiply and manipulate spells. By the way, just on a side note, Ward, manipulating multiple spells a turn, very effective. Casting spells, one of the hardest things to stop, right? Unless there's a rule of law effect on the board, which, by the way, Mangara, when you're mono white, like, your best stacks pieces are the Rule of Law, the Aethersworn Canonist, the Eidolon of Rhetoric, your Deafening Silence. You're hindering people from feeding you cards. Ugh. Should have given me attacks. Anyways, I've clearly run out of steam with the previews thus far. There were a lot of mentions up until this point of new cards that were releasing from the set. I do think I covered most of the ones that have potential or are the most efficient or could see play in a competitive scene, but if I missed anything, do let me know. I believe just before filming this, I saw that there was a new green card that I may or may not mention in next week's video. But, gang, any of these news cards getting you all perked up? You getting interested in buying them? Because if you are, buy them through the link in the description. You'll be helping out the channel, helping yourself. Wait for the kickback. Wait till the set releases to buy the money cards, right? A couple weeks after. But use the link in the description because, again, you're helping out your boy. And if you do love the channel like that, guys, support button and Anchor and or Patreon. Our Patreon members know it already. But if you enjoy this channel and you want to help support us, do feel free to join our Patreon. There's always weekly posts on there regarding the game. Obviously, a heads up as to what's coming and discussions as to what content we will be producing. So if you want to get involved in that, feel free to join. Also, you have a direct line to me at any point and a direct line via Discord. Always active on the Discord for Patreon members as well as on the Patreon, obviously. But to close this one out, I do want to thank all of our Patreon members individually. You guys are the best, by the way. To date this video, I'm not afraid to say it, this time and age sucks right now. It's really hectic and a lot of people are still out of work because of COVID-19. So if you are in an industry affected by COVID-19, screw the Patreon. Take care of yourself. Don't buy any singles. If you do, link description. But take care of yourself first. Honestly, guys, everyone, all 51 of you who have been donating up to this point, you guys are amazing. I really do appreciate it. No karaoke tonight. That is something on my radar, though. Both Justin and I are considering it. Honestly, I think that'll be like a 99 thing, and then maybe every 100 after that. I don't know. We'll do like a special karaoke video for you guys, utilizing your names. I don't know how that's going to work. But Adam, Allie, Jarn, thank you guys so much. Brendan, Bruno, Burden, Carl. Carl's Jr., the best. Hardy's, what's that? Christopher, Clyde, Craig, Dante. Get your copy of Mangara. Or don't. You probably don't need it. Dave, Frank, Frankly, Gregory, Goulius, you guys are the best. Some of the best people I know, some of the best Magic players. Harry, Jacoby, Jake, Jared, Jason, Javier. Thank you so much for your patronage. I love you guys. I really appreciate you here. Mace, Jordan, Josh, Joshua, Kevin, and Kevin N. Thank you so much. That tripped me up. We have 2 Kevins now. Leon, Leonardo, Luke, Mason, Matthew K, Mahoy Manoy. Thank you so much. All the Matthews. Oh my God. If you're a Matthew, special if you jump on the Patreon now. I want to see who wins out, Kevin's or Matthews. Which is the more common Magic player name? Mahoy Manoy? Nathan, Nick, Oliver, Paul, Renell, thank you so much. Running Red, Sam, Sarah, Shade. You are the best. Better than the other guys I mentioned earlier. That's not true. You're all equal footing here. You're all Mangaras to me. I don't know why I've got such a hard on for Mangara, by the way. Not even a fan. Shade, Sir Fluffykins, that can't be your real name. Shord, Submoxen, The Holy Knight, and Trent. Oh my God. Don't forget Xiao Fan. I had to go to a different page to find all your names because there's just that many. Thank you guys so much for helping support the channel. I hope you enjoy the content here. This week's previous video has been getting a lot of love. Thank you for joining us on that episode as well, where we told you not to buy cards. Crazy, I know, with how much I am shilling the partnership with TCG Player. I do really love them, though. I gotta say, I've been using them for years, and the service has been really good, by the way, even with the issues going on currently. So yeah, thank you so much. Also, I love you guys. Stay tuned for next week's episode regarding the second week of previews. My name is Patrick Marlett, and happy brewing, babies.